Hello and welcome to the 8th episode of season 2 of the Eco Bitch Actress podcast. My name is Sadie and I'm your host. Let's welcome back our co-host, Superman. Yo, it's a cloudy day today. Great. Thanks for the weather report. Again, if you have never listened to this podcast, we start with an eco tip that's great for the environment and might only be great for the environment. What am I talking about? Followed by an actress story that really happened. I'm functioning at 60%, but that's enough for a podcast. I had 2 comedy shows in the last 2 Fridays. They went well, but then after the show, I was in this capsule. I was like, so what now? I don't know what to do from this day on. Wait for the next show? Go to New York. But I will be in New York very soon. All my fans in New York, hang out. I'm talking to nobody. But I am definitely hitting some sort of open mic in New York. So y'all can wait for that story when I come back. I think it's going to be epic. My prediction is they won't laugh at the LA stuff. We'll see how much of a hard nut they are to crack. Should be fun. I'll be staying in Brooklyn. It's amazing. And I will have a great time. Okay, it's been a while, but let's start with our eco tip. Today's eco tip is inspired by my actions a few days before. There was this orange tree in my friend's apartment when I visited her a few times in the past, years. And there were a ton of fruit and nobody picking it. That really saddens my heart because I know white people just love to have a tree of hanging fruits and then be like, oh, I'm out of lemons. Let me go to Trader Joe's or somewhere to get my lemons. But then they have a whole freaking lemon tree full of fruit in their yard. And nope, they don't see that. And I don't know why. And I specifically am roasting white people because I know that phenomenon is not going to happen, say, at a black family's house. That tree, those lemons will be used. Latinos, probably lemons. Yes, I'm sure they're going to pick lemons from their own tree. And Asians, oh my God. If you don't pick your fruit trees, your other Asian neighbors will pick your fruit tree for you because we just can't see fruit go to waste. And fruit is not a decoration in your garden. What the fuck? After careful observation of that tree over my many visits, I decided to pick a few fruits because I happen to be out of citrus fruits at home anyway, and I was near her house. So after we hung out, I went to her house and I found most of the fruits were picked in the reachable peripheral, meaning all the lower fruits were taken. Back to the eco tip, which is you want to pick your fruits in your tree, guys. Don't learn from those blind people who don't see fruits that are hanging on their tree and instead go to grocery stores to get those fruits that instead have all their pesticides and things sprayed on them and then, put in a plastic bag for you to carry. That's extra resources that you're taking instead of walking out to your garden or your neighbor's garden and just pick out that lemon fresh from the tree and that doesn't have pesticides on it. Whoa, what a great tip. It's so obvious. And this tip is only for Americans because things like that won't happen. I can only say Asia because people have to guard their fruit trees or neighbor kids will sneak in and take your fruit. Imagine those neighbor kids coming to America and seeing all these golden, yellow, orange fruits on the tree that nobody picks because it's for decoration. What an upside down world. So yeah, the tip is to get that fruit. And I know I did say neighbor's fruit. So that takes one more step if you don't want to go to jail, which if they sue you for this, that's just crazy. But people are crazy. So you got to have consent when you go to your neighbor's place to pick their fruit that they think are decoration, but which are actually edible. And I am serious. I'm also talking to my own neighbor having a peach tree full of peaches that I did not know about until one day I opened my door and a peach rolls next to my ankles. And I'm like, God's gift. And that's how I found out that they have a peach tree. And the next step should be I go up to them and ask for permission for their peach tree. But okay, here is an extra tip. If the fruit is falling down onto the sidewalk or the road, that's public area. So that peach becomes public property. I'm not a lawyer, so don't check me for legal stuff, but I'm 99% sure that peach that's rolling on the road is the property of anyone who finds it. Yeah, it is so right in the EcoBitch dictionary. Also, if a person's if the branch is poking out of their property onto the public property, then I believe those fruits you can pick. It becomes public property. And I mean, most of the time, if the homeowner doesn't pick it, it's gonna rot there anyway, which is a no. EcoBitch anger coming out. Oh my god. I have about 50% battery left. Great. So that's the eco tip. Let's say our thanks to the fruit gods for giving us fruits. Why go to the market to buy fruits that might have been sprayed with pesticides when you can get freshly organic, non-GMO everything from your neighbor? You're welcome for the tip. Ooh, today let's dive into something romantic for once. Yeah, I think the closest thing I've talked about was casting couch, asterisk, non-existent casting couch. So I'll talk about in one of the theater productions that I did a few years back, a little romantic spark that disappeared as fast as one meteor in the meteor shower. It lasted maybe half a second. So no, this is not a depressing story, but it was I don't want to name it in case one of my 9 people listening is from that production, but I was in a production for a theater thing. I've done a lot, so no one can guess which one, but it was all kinds of different people for theater, which is a lot of unpaid work. So what you get is like a ton of older people who don't worry about money, older actors, and then you get these young 22-year-old just graduated from some sort of art degree. What's that one called? AMDA. Yeah, we had AMDA people. It's a school in LA with a theater degree and dance degree and singing degree. I digress. But so we had this theater with a bunch of old people and a bunch of, some of them are still in school. That's why they can afford to do theater for no money. It was a big cast of about maybe 20 people, 25, and everything's cool. I can't say anything or they'll know which production it is, but my role was waiting to go out on stage with. How am I going to tell the story without telling you what play it is? But it's a story where a lot of people have to run on stage and then run off stage and then run on stage and say something and run off stage. A lot of clarity there. Where do I start? And when we're waiting backstage for our turn to go on, the backstage is really cramped. It's a very tiny space. So we're all like squeezed together. And we could whisper and kind of talk a little bit. So that's what we did. And there's this one guy. Well, there's this one guy that looks youngish. I can't tell his age, but he looks young. And yeah, nothing's as romantic when you learn everything about the person, but when you don't know much about the person, he could be attractive. He's really attractive as an Asian guy. I'm not the type to fall for any face, but I was bored, and it was like 20 people running around. And for a long time, I would have been waiting behind the stage. So my eyes were too bored and they just went to this guy. And he's pretty cute. And from my internal analysis, he's probably younger than me. I don't know by how much. So that's that. We barely talked, and I mostly talked to the other girls. For one of the scenes, we have to wait near the door because the timing is important. The door that goes out. It was me and my friend, and then 2 guys. And one of the guys, him. And then we had to be squeezed together because it's a very little square. So we were all like this, like sandwiched. And I don't know. It's just that 1 second. So I was trying to not touch him, but, almost kind of touching him. And just out of boredom, I was like, this is so exciting. And also, there's the adrenaline of going on stage, which is exciting. So you have that fast heartbeat thing. So I'm just like literally dissecting my feelings like a scientist. Boo. Okay, shut up. And so I think that's literally why I felt something for that guy. And also, he was very ripped. which is a plus. It's not a must, but it's like plus 10 points, whatever. At this one point, this 1 second, I did find him attractive, which is really rare because usually I have to know the person because he could be like dumb AF. But of course he's not. Anyone who can memorize these long monologues are not dumb. It's really hard. I'm telling you, acting is like underrated for how hard it is. Go and try it, and then you'll be like, oh, why is he making $1 million like for just doing this thing? Okay, you try that thing in front of a whole crew, and then you have to do it exactly to the point and make the director happy. It is not easy feat, I'm telling you. Anyway, at that 1 second, I felt the spark of attractiveness, which is really rare for me. That's good, but I don't pursue anything. I just sit and wait. And of course, nothing happens. After a show, a bunch of us went out to have food. It was like 10 people or something. He was one of them. I was going to walk there, but then someone offered to drive. So I carpooled with another person. But then that person and him parked next to each other. So I was a little sad. I couldn't sit in his car, but I was happy that we could walk together to the car. That's fate because that car told me so much about him. It was definitely a newly grad car, a 23-year-old person's car. I don't want to say the brand because I don't want to be like canceled, but it was, a very generic sedan car, very old, maybe like, is it like a millennial car? What a good joke. And very run down. Anyway, I'm not judging him by the car, but then through the car and the way stuff is in the passenger back of the car, I can tell that he's probably a newly amped up, a newly graduated theater kid, which is such a turnoff. Like, I usually don't even date actors, not to say newly grad actors. Yeah, which is why I'm single, but whatever. But because I just had that spark, and then that car totally extinguished any romantic thought because I am way over 23. Yeah, I know that's not the stage that I want to get involved with. That's the end of the romantic part of the story, right when I see the car, that second. And it's really sad because he turns out to be a very kind person that still retained that beer pong quality from college. It is such a turnoff. I'm like, I haven't done or seen beer pong behavior in years since college. So that's the end of the rom-com. One day you're gonna see on the big screen. No, so he's gonna be like the B character, like whatever, but there will be this A person that's the real boyfriend. But yeah, that really happened. And after that, we still had to go to shows and we still got trapped into the little waiting area. I tried to feel something, but no, ever since I see all those costumes in the back of his car, yeah, there's no more feelings. That's been the story. I have no more show coming out for the time being, but please tell your friends to follow this podcast. That's before I make my Patreon page. Please do that. I'll see you next time. Bye.